Cartwheel Galaxy. Neptune, Hubble, or Voyager image, Hubble image 2021, James Webb Space Telescope to the far right. Black hole. The images from the James Webb Space Telescope that came out this past July took our breath away. And for those with a love for space, for the planets, for the cosmos, they came as a wonderful birthday present, Christmas present, bar mitzvah present, graduation present of all time. I, who flunked physics, who don't know a quark from a quartz, wanted to understand for the first time a little bit of what I was seeing to get over my science phobia. And so I started reading. I read 5 books and at least 6 articles on quantum physics and cosmology and all about what scientists are learning now. But because this was a crash course, I know I'm going to get science things wrong in this sermon, so please forgive me in advance. But I'm going to keep at it because I'm really hooked on learning now. What are we looking at? Well, on a technical level, infrared technology that uses 18 mirrors coated with gold that upon reaching a point 1 million miles from Earth opens like a flower to gather in light, 7 times as much light as the Hubble telescope, and just 12,000 times more light than the telescope that most amateur astronomers have in their backyard, just 12,000 times. It looks 13.6 billion light years away, that's all. For comparison, the Milky Way galaxy is about 100,000 light years across. And that was, this is a black hole in the middle of our galaxy. Beautiful. I won't be getting into black holes because my brain breaks when I try to understand them. I want you to look at this image, romantically titled, The Pillars of Creation. Are any of you familiar with this? Have you been looking? Okay, the Pillars of Creation, of course, human named. To the left was the image that the Hubble telescope took. I mean, they look like rock formations. They're just so beautiful. But then on the right, here you see what the Webb Space Telescope was able to capture. A little bit more dazzling. When this image was first released in 1995, it was described as elephant trunks of interstellar gas and dust in the Eagle Nebula in the Serpens constellation, some 6,500 to 7,000 light years from Earth. And then, again, courtesy of the James Webb Space Telescope, we see the same image ever more clearly, almost like an X-ray of the human body. What we are seeing is the birthplace of stars. Stellar embryos are being incubated from a hydrogen-rich dust. From observing this, scientists can learn much more about how our own sun was formed, and that is, of course, one reason to study the heavens. Another is to consider the nature of reality itself, which is the shared endeavor of both science and religion, 2 ways of being curious about the world, as the Episcopal priest Barbara Brown Taylor says. And her book, I have it later, was a big inspiration for me in putting my thoughts together this morning. In these images and the questions that they provoke, we encounter material for the richest of existential questions and crises. If the universe is rapidly expanding, as astronomers informed us in 1998 by analyzing supernova throughout the universe, will it expand so much that at some point the night sky will become totally black, since light will no longer reach Earth from neighboring stars, and the temperature drop so precipitous that life itself cannot exist? And in fact, even the molecules in outer space lose their energy? The more I learned reading about all of these possibilities, the more I realized that attention to such a subject can cause one to fall into an emotional black hole, the existential abyss of being and nothingness. I wonder how scientists deal with this. And I wondered, do they have like humanist chaplains that they can go to? But of course, some scientists are deeply religious. But when I was tempted to project forward to whatever the opposite of the Big Bang is called, I turned my mind to this miraculous fact. I pulled myself back to this. We are literally made of the same stuff as the stars. The cells in our bodies are living fossils over 3.5 billion years old, which is maybe why it's so hard to get out of bed on a cold morning and you feel a little achy. You're a living fossil. Hydrogen, and this is a quip by Edward R. Harrison in Cosmology, the Science of the Universe. He wrote, "Hydrogen is an odorless, colorless gas which, given enough time, turns into people." It's a lot of time. And what of those people, especially those we personally know and love in this lifetime? As we live and breathe and share the amazing fact of consciousness, what about when we depart our bodies? What about those who have gone on into the great mystery? This is the time of year when the veil between the living and the dead is said to be the thinnest. And we turn toward the spooky and mysterious in order to honor that sense and to pursue experiences and share stories of it. Just try to drive through Salem or live in Salem this time of year. There isn't a parking space to be found for 2 miles, and Mayor Kim Driscoll has made national news talking about the teeming throngs. Why? Folks can have a fun night out and visit Salem's many tourist attractions any time of year. Why Halloween? I think we love Halloween because it is one of the culturally accepted opportunities to address the fact of our mortality, the reality of death, head on. Dust we are, and dust, stardust, to stardust we return. But what on one level seems to be an ending may not be. The dead are with us. They visit us in dreams. They appear in apparitions. They are sensed in the home or at rites of passage. They come through in the form of a bird, an animal, a song, a talisman found in an unexpected place. Is this spirit, imagination, soul, energy, wishful thinking, or maybe quantum mechanics? At the end of almost every funeral service at which I officiate, I say this phrase: we cherish the memory of names, words, and deeds, and character, and we release, We cherish the memory of names, words, deeds, and character, and we love her enough to release her now into the great and glorious soul that was her origin and shall be her eternity. This is not a biblical phrase. It's not from any poem. It's just from my own belief in conversation with Hebrew and Christian scriptural tradition, poetry, literature, philosophy, music, and experience. Our origins are energy. We become matter, and consciousness, and we return to energy. I call it soul. But what I mean by that partly is the original eternal unity, such as existed before the Big Bang occurred and triggered existence of time, space, planets, and galaxies. You may remember that I'm a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So if you're like, which one's that? It's the Avengers, Thor, Black Widow, Iron Man, so that universe, where there are multiverses and multiple timelines in the same dimension, where the living and the dead can pop back and forth. Well, as I studied new research in physics, and even Einstein's theories and arguments and possibilities produced by his theories, and I do love to see how scientists argue with each other. I love it. I love to see, this man wrote this article and he said, Stephen Hawking thought I was an idiot, but this was his theory, and he really respected Hawking. I was amazed to find that my interest in the paranormal, multiverses, and dimensions is also being taken seriously by physicists. It heartens me that quantum physics actively grapples with the same questions that theologians have tried since ancient times to understand or explain. And the study of quantum entanglement, which Einstein actually called spooky action at a distance, for which Alain Aspect, John Clauser, and Anton Zeilinger were just granted the Nobel Prize in Physics, has implications not just for technology, but for the way we can imagine reality itself to function, including, dare I say, what has previously been completely relegated to the realm of the supernatural and just, silliness by scientists. I beg you to forgive me if I'm mixing up field theory with the theory of non-locality and quantum entanglement. Some of you are like, I don't know what she's talking about at all, but some of you really know. And I just want to say, I don't know if I've got that quite right. In 1611, a note to readers of the New King James translation of the Bible informed them that creation had occurred, on this date. Right before October 23rd on the year 4004 BCE. Okay, so that was the day creation happened. And in 1616, the Catholic Church banned all books that dared to suggest that the earth moved at all. These certainties seem embarrassing to us now, but we still have cause to be humble. Because the universe is expanding, revelation is not sealed, and science is still unable to explain consciousness itself, how it works, and where it comes from. In us, the universe has become conscious. And we are learning in scientific terms what the mystics knew intuitively, that the universe is not a collection of autonomous parts, as Newton saw, existing separately while interacting. No. The deeper revelation of physics, and I'm quoting from Barbara Brown Taylor, the deeper revelation of physics is one of undivided wholeness in which the observer, us, is not separable from what is being observed. Physicist Werner Heisenberg's words, the common division of the world into subject and object, inner world and outer world, body and soul, is no longer adequate. We contemplate the heavens. We celebrate the remarkable technological achievements that allow us to see more deeply and accurately into the universe so that we may learn more about the workings of our planet among many other planets. Is there life out there? Can we live on another planet? Learn about the stars, galaxies, maybe even universes. And as mortal beings who get a fairly brief time of shared embodied life on Earth before we return to the soul that was our origin and shall be our eternity, we give deep thanks for those who accompany us, both here in the life we can see, and those who have passed into a form we cannot see, but whose essence and energy remain part of ours. Let us pray. Thousands of years ago, someone we know only as the psalmist wrote, "When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them? Mortals, that you care for them. You have made them a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor." We name now, silently or aloud, those who have passed from their earthly form over the past year in gratitude for their lives, their influence, and the enduring love which we have given and received from them.
Sending forth is from The Luminous Web by Barbara Brown Taylor. Before the Big Bang triggered the expansion of time and space, there was a unity, a total coherence. Mind, matter, and time were not yet different. They were all floating in the same yoke. Then the universe was born, and the one became many. Quantum particles became planets, galaxies, clusters, and superclusters. Atoms became blue-green algae, toads, palm trees, and swans. Space became here or there, as time became then or now. But what if deep down in the being of these many things remains the memory of their being one, which makes them behave in ways that torture scientists? Space and time are not separable. Light is both particle and wave. A particle way over there responds instantly to a particle way over here, as if the two were not two, but one. Is this physics or theology? Science or religion? At the very least, it is poetry. As far back as the 13th century, the Sufi poet Rumi wrote, "You think because you understand one, you must also understand two, because one and one makes two. But you must also understand and." Our dominion, such as it is, lies in the privilege of our consciousness. We, among all the others, have been given the privilege of keeping covenant. We, among all others, have been given the privilege of knowing to give thanks.